Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam and you're watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I'm going to tell you about the new Mortal Kombat movie and how it might actually be the best movie based on a video game ever made. So I'm going to start this off by saying that the new Mortal Kombat is way better than I expected, and I think way better than a lot of people expected. However, before I start praising this movie and telling you all the things that are great about it, without any spoilers by the way, I do want to say I'm rating this one based on the fact that it is a video game movie, meaning I'm really just comparing it not just to the previous Mortal Kombat movie, but to most, if not all, movies based on video games, because there is a long history of horrible, and I mean horrible movies based on video games. In fact, it is a formula that Hollywood has yet to crack. However, they seem to have figured something out with Mortal Kombat. Years ago, I did a whole video on why video game movies don't work, and this is coming from someone who loves video games. I've played them forever. I'm a big PlayStation guy, and me and the missus play Mortal Kombat all the time. However, the format of a video game does not really translate very well to a movie, especially for things that are long with a lot of story development. You're taking something that takes 12 hours, 20, 30, 40, 60 in some cases, where the player is the active character in the story. You're taking that concept and compressing it down to 2 hours, maybe 90 minutes in some cases, and making the viewer a passive person in the experience. It's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole, except the new Mortal Kombat movie just takes a sledgehammer and smashes that peg into that hole in a surprisingly successful fashion. Now again, I'm not comparing Mortal Kombat to The Irishman or anything like that. They're two completely different art forms. So enough of that, let's do some comparisons to the original, to the game, see what works, what doesn't, again, without any major spoilers. So Mortal Kombat, for the uninitiated, is a video game that was super popular in the 90s, and it is just a fighting game. And the characters all have supernatural abilities that kind of come out at different times in the game, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a very gratifying game. It is a very bloody game. And then in 1995, they made a movie about it, and it was maybe the third or fourth big budget movie based on a video game. Before that, they tried Super Mario Brothers, which failed in fantastic fashion. Then they did Double Dragon, which is considered one of the worst movies ever made.
You think I'm bad? Where do you meet my lawyers?
And then they tried Mortal Kombat, and it was actually pretty successful. People liked it when it came out, particularly teenagers, but they made it PG-13. They took this uber violent, bloody game, and they made it PG-13, which kind of neuters it. I'm never a fan of that. However, they knew who their target audience was, and it worked. I mean, it doesn't hold up, the 1995 version, but it still was pretty decent for its time and delivered what you would expect. Furthermore, the game itself and the original movie is basically Enter the Dragon, which is a far superior movie to all of the movies I'm talking about, but it's just a giant tournament where you have the most elite fighters, in this case, elite fighters from multiple realms, and they have different superpowers and stuff. It's little kid. I mean, it's the type of stuff little boys pretend when they play, but there's something as an adult, as a grown man, that's so cool to see it brought to life on screen with plenty of blood and guts to spare. So that is where they went right with this movie. They made it rated R. I'm happy that they did that. I was excited when I heard that was going to be the case, and they didn't waste it. They make good use of that R rating. There's plenty of blood, and sometimes it's real blood. It's actual special effects blood splattering. Other times it's just CGI blood, but never really does that get in the way. And then most importantly, the movie delivers some really good fights. In fact, I lost count. There's way too many face-offs in this movie to count. Some of them are short-lived or they're done back to back. Others are really showcased really well. Others come on by surprise. I'll just say there's more than 10 face-offs and less than 20, which is plenty for a 2-hour movie. On top of that, they added in some story element, and they didn't overdo it. They didn't make the story elements too convoluted and complicated. They made them just robust enough to bring the movie to life, to give the action a little bit more meaning than it probably would have had otherwise, and to do a little bit of early world building so that they can potentially build out some sequels to this thing. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I will gladly watch a sequel to this movie. Now, again, I'm praising it up and down. It's a stupid movie. There's a lot of stupid things that happen. Mostly, that stuff is contained to supernatural things that were never explained, that they didn't sort of let you know were coming, that just sort of happen, and they're kind of convenient at times. But that's just the nature of the beast. That does fit in with the world of Mortal Kombat. It's not the most intellectually stimulating way to watch a movie, but it does work, and the fighting is really fantastic in this movie. Now, I will say that the fight choreography is on par with most of what you see today. It's not excellent, it's not John Wick level stuff, but it's good enough. It wasn't distractingly bad or anything like that. However, the writing for the fighting, oddly enough that rhymes, is fantastic. They did a great job of putting story elements in the fighting that's not distracting, but that works, and just sort of the mix-up as to who's prevailing in a fight and who's not and how things go down, I thought was really well written, and it kept me engaged. I'll also say there are a ton of characters in this movie. They really packed a lot in, and I never really felt like there were too many. I think it maybe borderlines on too many, but it wasn't a bad thing at all. Another thing that surprised me was the humor. There's a lot of humor in this movie, and it's good. It's well done. It's not overbearing, even though I felt like it went into that territory a little bit. But Kano has a fantastic actor playing him. I don't recognize the guy from anything. He kills it. I mean, he steals the show, really. During the middle of the movie, there are scenes with him where he just kind of dominates the scene, and I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was really refreshing, and I did not expect that to be the case in the movie at all. They introduce a new character, which makes sense for Mortal Kombat, because every time a new game comes out, there are new characters, so a new one with the movie works. And the way they integrated the new character works as well. And the movie doesn't waste a lot of time. It gets right into the action, and yeah, there's your typical scenes of exposition where people are setting things up and talking about their feelings, but that stuff never stretches out. It's never chained together where there's too much of it back to back. If you find that you're getting bored, wait 2 minutes and the action will pick back up in this movie. I feel like a lot of the effects in this movie, especially the Sub-Zero effects with the ice, totally convincing. They look great. They look cool. There is a CGI character that it is what it is. I mean, that technology of a full CGI character that's interacting and fighting with another character just does not look as convincing as you would like it to be, but it's as good as it is in anything. But I have been racking my brain trying to come up with a better movie based on a video game. Now, there have been better movies that are like a video game. I think Hardcore Henry is the most like a video game. I mentioned John Wick. Those movies are more like a video game than a lot of video game movies. Because with video game movies, you're not only getting that square peg in a round hole problem, you're also getting producers that don't really care about the games. They don't play them. They don't understand what fans like about them. And it just doesn't translate. It doesn't matter if you get a bunch of good actors and a good director to do a movie like Assassin's Creed. It still manages to suck because the people making it don't quite understand the medium that they're translating. I'll say the people behind the new Mortal Kombat movie, they understand the game, they put lines in there from the game, they put some incredible fatalities in the movie, the characters look great, they feel like they're from the game. There's a fair amount of respect that went into this for the source material, which is always appreciated, and I think fans will be able to tell. But I also think people that don't really care about Mortal Kombat could enjoy this movie if you like stuff like this. If you like the big budget, over-the-top, supernatural, superpower kind of stuff, it's a fun watch. If that stuff doesn't stimulate you and you don't care about Mortal Kombat, there's not enough here to really engage you. I don't really recommend seeking it out, but if you've been the least bit interested in it, I think you're gonna be surprised how good this movie is. Let me know if you enjoy it as well in the comments below, but I will keep making reviews like this one and my more popular list videos as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking out this Mortal Kombat review, and you will see me on the next one.